so that the Comex wouldn't go under. There's all sorts of chicanery going on, and they're going to get caught sooner or later. Now, if Comex and London go down because they go bankrupt, which is very possible, gold will skyrocket. And that the central banks will not have that instrument, the Comex and the London Metals Exchange, to manipulate gold anymore through the futures market. It'll be all a physical market. And so this could be going on. Jim might be right about that. And he's got a very good publication. And go ahead, Mount Melody, it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn?
Well, it's age before beauty.
Oh. Hey. Hello there. Bloomberg.
Well, you're the beauty. I'm the aged one.
Bloomberg News reported that General Motors Corp plans to file for bankruptcy protection on Monday, June 1st, and sell most of its assets to a new company formed by the U.S. government. What would be next for GM?
They will come out of bankruptcy as a different company. The bondholders will get screwed when they should take all the assets that are left. And it's one of the biggest pieces of scammery in history. It breaks all the tradition of bankruptcy going back to the 13th century. These people just don't care. Number two, I haven't seen this happen with GM yet, but Chrysler dealerships are going to be shut down. Who are top dealerships?
Yep.
And why? And it came out today because they were Republican contributors or they were conservatives. And I had a station. I've been on a lot of radio stations lately, and one of the guys told me, and he sent me an article, that they were zeroing in on the companies that were advertising on his program. And other people in the industry, which is the radio industry, had said the same thing. A few others did. So that's where these people are coming from. I just thought I'd tell you that.
Interesting. The next question came in is, hello, Melody and Bob. I figure we are fast approaching a one-world government. What is your guys' take when the Bible talks about there is coming a time when people will throw their gold and silver in the streets because it won't be worth anything? And any idea at what point in time that might happen?
Well, you don't know, I don't know, nobody knows. So let's go on the assumption it's going to be after we're dead.
Well, let me just say one thing about the Bible. And number one, it means that gold has to have a very high value. And if you look at the currency back in the Bible times, you can also say it's a relationship. Our U.S. dollars can be thrown in the streets because that's what we use as currency. It is worthless. But also, if you read the Scriptures, I think it also means that it was a group of people who thought that they could use their wealth to buy their way into heaven. And they may as well throw all their wealth into the streets because they won't be able to buy good works, and money will not be able to buy your way into heaven. So you can throw all your gold and silver out into the streets because it is worthless for that purpose. So there's several interpretations that you can take on that. But I have people who actually thought that, I'm not going to buy gold because it's going to be worthless. And that's the worst thing that you can do because I really don't believe that's what that scripture means.
There was interesting, during the Middle Ages, one of the reasons for the Reformation was the dispensations that were sold by the Catholic Church to members of the church in order to buy their way into heaven. It was a racket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because, what does the Pope or anybody else, what does he know about who's going to be accepted into heaven and who isn't? And it was one of the causes for the Reformation. And that's another distortion of religion.
Gold and silver is here for a purpose. So that's why you buy it, for that purpose.
Yeah, to save your bacon.
Absolutely. There's a reason why he gave it to us. According to BBC talks between Germany and the U.S. aimed at saving General Motors, Opal unit might have broken down, raising fears of loss over tens of thousands of jobs in Europe. All-night discussions in Berlin, the German capital, ended with when GM and the U.S. government said they needed an extra $416 million in loans from Germany to keep Opal afloat.
Well, it's a hard call. I think that I'm rather surprised that in a European society such as Germany, and I lived there for a long time and I speak German, they have a government, and they want it that way, that's socialistic. And it would be within the purview of a socialist government to do what was done in the United States with Chrysler and GM, but they're not, or they may not do that. And it comes as a surprise to me. It also is also much more surprising that the Obama administration did what they did. These two companies should have been allowed to go bankrupt at least 5 years ago. They lived on borrowed time. And the major cause of their problem is free trade, globalization, offshoring, and to some extent outsourcing. And that's what killed the American manufacturing industry. And that's why we need tariffs on goods and services. And if we don't get them, we will be a third world country, and you can take that to whatever bank is left by the time we get through with this thing.
Now we're going to move over to India. Is India subsidizing the Taliban in Pakistan in order to destabilize it and eventually balkanizing and neutralizing it?
Could be. I don't know. I don't have a good source in that area. Possible. They've been accused of it. Pakistan and India have been at each other's throat for a long time. So it could be. I just don't really know.
Completely tax-free U.S. Treasury bonds being molded as a way to get Americans to buy U.S. Treasuries was mentioned today on CNBC, or in other words, a way to sucker the folks into buying U.S. Treasuries. Any comments, Bob?
I wouldn't touch them with a barge pole. In fact, I wouldn't touch any U.S. stock-nominated bond. They're going to do better than stocks will. But, if stocks go down a total of 85 or 90%, which could very well do, bonds would go down half as much. But, if you're in gold, you're going to be making money. It's the ultimate wealth preservation, gold and silver coins and shares.
The consensus among non-mainstream economists is this will be the last bust and boom cycle. Thereafter, it's anybody's guess what kind of economic system will replace the current one.